Hey everybody, Jason here, and it's time to do a meal prep video for you guys to show you some of the different foods I eat throughout the week and how I create them all into some tasty and filling meals that'll actually leave you feeling pretty satisfied. I was able to get my lovely wife to help me with some of the cooking here to make this process a little less daunting, and please ignore the fact that there's cupcakes in there. It was one of her coworkers' birthdays and she had to make those, and I didn't realize at the time of filming that those were actually going to be in the shot. And here's a few of the spices that we use, which are salt-free and 0 calories, which adds some great flavor without adding any calories to your diet. Now here has got to be my favorite appliance in the entire kitchen. If you don't have a rice cooker, you can boil rice, and there's other ways to do it. You grab your rice as well as a sweet potato or any other vegetable that you want to steam, and you can actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So you prep your rice, and it doesn't matter whether you have 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, as long as you get an exact measurement for what you have. You go ahead and measure out however much you'd like. Just keep in mind that you're going to end up with about 4 times as much rice as you started with. Here we've got 12 ounces because that was the rest of the bag. Take your tray out and dump in your rice. And now what we're going to do is grab water. A good rule of thumb is you need about twice as much water as you have rice. However, you'll have to experiment a little bit to determine how you like your rice. From experience, I've found that when it comes to water, you want just under the recommended amount of water. Now, white rice is a little more forgiving, but with brown rice, I find that doing twice as much water as rice actually causes it to be pretty mushy, even when using that brown rice setting on the rice cooker. So now that you've determined your water amount, we're going to move on and start steaming the vegetable. In this case, it's a sweet potato, but of course you could put anything else that you want in there. And it's probably the best way that I've found to cook a sweet potato. Very, very simple to do. Put the rice in there, put the sweet potato in there, turn the power on to the rice cooker, find and select your white rice setting, and basically set it and forget it. It should take about 20 to 25 minutes to complete, which gives you a chance to work on your other food while the rice is cooking in the background. And once the rice is done, you come back, open it up, and you should have a very soft but also very hot sweet potato that you're going to want to be careful when you're pulling out the tray here. And the rice inside should be perfectly done. Let's get a close-up here and see. Oh yeah, that is some good looking rice. Very moist, still firm, sticky to the touch, but not a mushy mess, which is what would have happened if you had too much water in there, especially again with that brown rice. So go ahead, and you have the option of leaving it on, and the thing will keep your rice warm for quite a while. So if you can't get back to it in time, that's actually a good thing. And a nice thing is it'll actually cook the sweet potato a little bit longer if it came out a little bit too firm. But in this case, the sweet potato came out almost perfect to the touch. Go ahead and cut off the ends. I'm not a big fan of the skins, so start cutting into it, and that knife should just glide into it. But you might want to give it a few minutes to cool down. Now, moving on to measuring out our food portions, I use this very nifty food scale, which it's not a bad idea to have one of these, especially if you want to adjust your food count a little bit. So say you need more protein or less protein, or more carbs or less carbs. This really allows you to dial it in and get the exact macronutrients that you're shooting for in your particular diet. I'm going for 5 ounces of steak here, and now readjusting the scale into grams and zeroing it out allows me to measure out exactly 100 grams of rice, and that is about the equivalent of 1 cup of cooked rice. And now for me to show you the secret sauce. G. Hughes sugar-free barbecue sauce is amazing. Obviously it's sugar-free, but it still tastes really sweet. It's only got 2 carbs per serving, which is awesome. Although I'm trying to limit my portion here, you can go pretty crazy with this stuff, and it's not going to kill your calorie count for the day. Let me get some of that. Ooh, man, I could drink this stuff. All right, moving on. We're going to go ahead and zero out our scale again, and this time add some vegetables. Now, vegetables to me are nice. It's kind of a filler option that's a very low calorie. And in this particular instance, I chose Brussels sprouts, which as a kid, I hated these things. But as an adult, strangely, they're not that bad. So I measure out 1 portion of these, which gives us our complete lunch meal. And all you do is repeat this process until you've used up all the food you've cooked. And here's some examples of other meals that I've prepped throughout the day. I had some recording of us cooking the chicken, but apparently that somehow got deleted, so I apologize on that one. And these are the easily microwavable vegetables that we use, as well as another option if you'd like some more tender meat by doing it in the crock pot, which is actually pretty effective but very time consuming. And lastly, one of my favorite meals, or snacks if you will, I kind of consider it more of a dessert than anything else, is cottage cheese and canned fruit. So I always go for the light syrup or fruit juice filled can because I want to use the lowest calorie option possible. And although they make a sugar-free option, it's terrible. It tastes like diet fruit. Unless of course you like it, then you should get it because it's a lower calorie option. So as you just saw, I measured out my fruit so I could divide that by 6 so I can easily calculate my portions because I'll be putting it into a calorie tracker for myself. And I'm just going through and portioning out 1 serving of each of the fat-free and the 4% cottage cheese because I'm not a fan of the fat-free and I don't have a 1% or 2% at my local grocery store. So this allows me to compensate pretty good and create a low-fat option that's still got flavor. And I make 6 equal portions for myself. They give me a week's worth of snacks to enjoy throughout the week. And keep in mind, when you're dividing these up and measuring them, they don't have to be perfect. You know, it's 113 grams for 1 portion of the cottage cheese, but if it ends up being 112 or 115, you're going to be eating all this throughout the week anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And don't end up splitting hairs. I've wasted way too much time getting this exact, when in reality, it doesn't need to be. If you look at the grand scheme of things, a couple calories is not going to make or break it for each day. Don't forget to get that last little bit of sugary goodness in there. Like my grandma always used to say, everything in moderation. So there you have it. That's a pretty good basis for meal prepping for the week. And although I'm not showing you all of our prepared meals, here's an example of one day of eating. I've got my lunch and my dinner meals, as well as a snack or two, and my protein shake that I drink throughout the day. And as you can see, the fridge is stocked up pretty well with the prepped meals and a few different snack options. And disregard that open beer in the fridge. Who does that? At least finish the damn thing, because now it's going to be flat and horrible. And lastly, whenever you're prepping your meals and put them in the fridge, make sure you stack the containers nice and tight together. A lot of them are designed to fit together pretty well, but if you don't, and somehow it gets shifted when the door opens and closes, this is what you're going to find the next time you open the door. Lastly, if this video helped you in any way, please give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and like it. And subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting more of these out in the future. And check out my progress on my 90-day challenge. I'm still at the beginning of that, so it's only going to get better from here on out. You guys have a great one.